We move on, but before we return to the madness and mayhem of what is happening, the opening of the seventh seal curiously results in a period of silence of around half an hour. It's clearly an interlude, but signifying what? A relative calm before the final storm, space to hear the prayers in heaven, a picture of the tranquility of heaven as opposed to the turmoil on earth. Plenty of options. Now here's one of my favourite quotes from the great American preacher of the last century, A.W. Tozer, who said on this silence, "I would tell you if I knew, but I do not know." Now the altar scene links us back to the seals and the prayers of the saints and their cry, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" We see the prayers of the saints, and we can perhaps ask whether what is to follow is a response to the prayers for justice, or whether the prayers are in some way holding back what is to come. Now we don't really know. So back to the next set of seven, the seven trumpets. Let's look at what may be familiar to us already. There's a 4, 2 and 1 pattern in firstly the seals and now the trumpets, with the first four being similar to each other and brief in their description, with the latter three differing and having more detail. Now another thing you may notice is that the trumpets, and when we come to them the last set of seven, the bowls, well, they're quite similar to the plagues in Exodus. This is a time of judgment, but again there is a sense of limitation with each time, 1/3 being affected, and so they can therefore probably be seen more as a warning rather than any final judgment. And perhaps too there's a link to the plagues where the Exodus starts, as the Israelites cried out and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. Also, one of the uses of trumpets in the Old Testament was to warn the people of impending judgment, as in, for example, Ezekiel 33, where Ezekiel is seen as the prophetic trumpet, warning people of what God is going to do in order that they might repent and turn to God. There is warning after warning. God is pleading with men. Probably like the first 4 seals and the 4 horsemen, these are not a sequence of events, but one set of warnings, at the end of which there is the ominous message that the final 3 trumpets will be far more devastating in their impact. They're pictures of devastation and destruction rather than exact details. Now remember that the last 3 seals gave a picture of heavenly realities, but the last 3 trumpet pictures are far more sinister and are clearly demonic. But even in this, God is in control, as the key to unlock has to be handed to the agent. They have great power and effect, but notice they cannot harm those who have the seal of God on their foreheads. And again, there's the contrast between those who have this seal or mark and those that don't. So it seems as if the seals are about catastrophe and suffering and its impact on the believers who are not immune from suffering but are sealed. Now the trumpets, on the other hand, are about the impact on those who do not have this sealing. Worse is to follow with the 5th trumpet, as the locusts could torture but not kill. The angels, however, released with the 6th trumpet have the power to kill. Now, could it be that the seals and the trumpets are in fact 2 sides of the same coin, showing the effects of what is happening on the 2 groups of people? We can see that the trumpets are directed at the unbelievers, and the last verse in chapter 9 gives a sobering reflection on what is going on. In spite of the chaos and the unfolding catastrophes, people are not repenting and turning to God. There's a real sense of dread and terror. This is clearly not the final act of judgment when there's no opportunity to repent. So what is the point of all this madness and mayhem? Well, we've got to wait a couple of bites to properly answer the question. But from what we've learnt in the trumpets, it seems as if bad stuff happening in itself is rarely the trigger to turn people back to God. There's an important missing element which we will shortly discover. And this is what the next couple of bites are about, as again there's an interlude as we still have the 7th trumpet to sound.